Good evening. Okay, we'll get started right away with some questions that came in. So here we go. On worksheet 23A, number 16. So we'll start this one. It's one of the ones with minus. So how do we factor Okay, how do we factor this one? Well, we have a coefficient in front. So all we can really start with that we know is there's two parentheses. This 2x can only, or 2x squared, I'm sorry. 2x squared can only factor 2x and x. So we know we can at least put those in, 2x and x. We've got three choices here on factoring. It could be 1 and, oh man, 1 and 12, or 2 and 6, or 3 and 4. And that has to pair, these can be paired up either with the 1 or with the 2. And then one of them's got to be negative, and one of them has to be positive. So this last term tells us if it's negative, that one of these has to be negative and one has to be positive. So usually the 1 and 12, unless this was a big number, we're not going to be looking at. So we're going to move to the 2 and the 6. If I did the 2 and the 6, I could multiply one of them by 2. If I did the 6, I would get 12, and then I'd have 2 on the other side because it'd be multiplied by the 1. So 12 and 1, if I subtract those, I'm not going to get 5. I could try it the other way. If the 2 was with this 2, we'd have 2 times 2 would be 4, and 6 times 1 would be 6. So then we'd have 4 and 6, but we're subtracting them because one of them has to be negative. So the difference between 4 and 6 is only 2, not 5. So now we're going to go to the 3 and the 4. If I do 3 times 2, I get 6, and then 4 times 1 would be 4. So there's another one where we have 6 and 4, and that difference is not 5. If I go the other way, I have 4 times 2, which is 8, and 3 times 1 is 3. So 8 and 3 do have a difference of 5. Okay, so remembering that I was 8, and that would be 4 and 2, I want the 2 and the 4 to be in the one of the oi spots. Remember our middle letters. So I'll put it, if this is already on the outside, then I need to put the 4 on the outside. That means the 3 has to go right here. So again, our oi would be, outside would be 8x, and our inside would be 3x. If I want a positive 5, I want the 8 to be the positive one. That means I want the plus in front of the 4, because this 2 already has a plus, and this one already has a plus. So we just don't put, but we know that they're there. So that means I want the 4 positive, and I want to subtract the 3 that we get here. So this is our final answer, and we can double check by doing our FOIL. So our first is 2x and x, and that gives me 2x squared. Our outside is a positive 4 and a 2x, so that's 8x. Our inside is a negative 3x, and our last is a negative 3 times a positive 4, or negative 12. We add these up and we get 5x. We have 2x squared minus 12. All right, so our next one we're going to go over is 23B, number 15. Okay, we're factoring this one, 5x squared plus 9x minus 2. So again, this tells us that we're going to need factors of 5 in front. And there's only one set of factor for 5, 5 and 1. So we'll have a 5x and we'll have an x. This minus sign on the end tells us that our last two have to be negative. Those are the blanks that we have right now. So if those last have to be negative, one has to be negative and one has to be positive. But we don't know if it's in this parenthesis or in this parenthesis. The only factors of 2 are 2 and 1. So now when we start to do our playing around, that's with our OI, our outside and our inside. So outside, I could put something here and it would multiply by the 5. So if I put the 1 in here, I would have 1 times 5, and that would give me 5. And that means I would have to put the 2 right here, and 2 times x would be 2x. So I'd have a 5x and a 2x. I'm subtracting one of them, but it doesn't matter which way at this point. So I think about the difference between 5 and 2 is only 3, not 9. So that's not the way I want to put it. So I'm going to put the 2 over here. So now I have 5x times 2, and that's 10x. And then I'd have a 1 right here, and that would just be 1x. So 10x and 1x does have a difference of 9. So that's what I want. Now I want the 9 to be positive. So do I want the 10 positive, or do I want the 1 positive? I want the 10 positive. So I'm going to put the plus sign here in front of the 2 so that when I multiply my outside, I'll get a positive 10. But I want a negative here because I knew that 1 had to be positive and 1 had to be negative. And also because my inside ones are going to be negative x. So again, my outside ones are going to be 10x. My inside will be negative 1x. And then just to double check, my first ones are 5x squared. My last are negative 2. So I add this all together. I have 5x squared to start with. 10x minus 1x is a positive 9x, and then minus 2. And that's what I started with. All right, a couple examples from 24. So 24b, number 5. Divide x squared plus 7x plus 10 by x plus 2. So this is what it might look like on your test, and then you have to convert that over. So we'll put the x squared plus 7x plus 10 inside that division sign, and then our x plus 2 on the outside. Now remember, when we're starting this division, we divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. And we're going to start by just looking at this x. What do I multiply this x by to get this x squared? Well, the dividing here, x squared divided by x is just going to give me 1x. Okay, so that's my division. What was it? It was an x that I need. Now I'm going to multiply. This is now going to be multiplied by both parts. So x times x is x squared. X times 2 is 2x. It's a positive 2x. So now I've multiplied. Now I need to subtract. Easy to do this first one because you just add the sign. If this one's already subtraction, you can just, addition, you can just put the subtraction sign kind of up above it. So our x squared minus x squared is 0x squared. And 7x minus 2x is going to give me 5x. Now I bring this 10 down, so plus 10. Now, am I dividing? 5x divided by x leaves me a 5. So that's what I have to multiply this by to get the 5x. So I'm going to add 5. Now I'm going to multiply. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 2 is 10. Now I've multiplied. Now I subtract. I change my signs. I have 0 and 0. Bring down, there's nothing left to bring down. If I have a 0 here, that means I have no remainder. So this up here is my final answer. My final answer is x plus 5. All right, last one tonight. We're dividing x cubed by plus x squared minus 19x plus 26 by x minus 3. So I write my big long one and I put it inside the division sign. So I think on your homework it already looks like this. On your test it's going to look like this. So know how to write it in this form. Divided by x minus 3. We're going to divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. So I divide, I'm just going to look at the first number and the first number, or the first term in both of them. So if I divided x cubed by x, I would have x squared left. So I'm going to put an x squared up here. Now I'm going to multiply. X squared times x is x cubed. X squared times negative 3 is negative 3x squared. So use the negative with the number it comes before. So the negative came before 3, so I'm going to use that negative 3 together. All right, so that was multiplying. Now I'm going to subtract. When I have a minus and I subtract it, I really just turn it into a plus. This part is 0. This is 1x plus 3x. I'm sorry, 1x squared plus 3x squared. So there's 1 here and there's 3 more. So now we're at 4x squared. Now I bring down. I bring this down and I bring down this negative sign with it. So minus 19x. Now, if I divide 4x squared by x, I'll have a 4 and an x left, and it's positive. 4x times x is now 4x squared. 4x times negative 3 is negative 12x. So now I've multiplied, now I subtract. I've changed the signs on both of them to subtract them. This is 0. Negative 19 plus 12 is negative 7x. And you bring down plus 26. Now last time we're dividing. So negative 7x divided by x is a negative 7. Now I multiply. Negative 7 times x is negative 7x. Negative 7 times negative 3, negative times a negative, gives me a positive, and 7 times 3 is 21. Now I subtract. So I just change the signs on both of them. This gives me 0. 26 minus 21 is 5. And now I bring down. There's nothing left. So I'm finished dividing, and I have this left. This is my remainder. So you can just put remainder 5. All right, I can make another video again next week, so let me know if you have any more questions on our off week next week. Thanks for watching.